What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the Philly Frenzy Podcast. I am your host, Matt, as always. Today, I am joined by my buddy, Rob. What is going on, Rob?
I'm enjoying the hype tonight, man. I'm excited. You're excited. Opening day in the MLB tomorrow.
So we are covering the MLB opening day. We are joined by our guest, Kyle Stintsman. That is why it's called the Stintsman's Opening Day Diamond. Only man that knows about 10-year-olds that it can throw a 65-mile-an-hour fastball all over the world at all times. But real quick, Kyle is going to be hitting on his MLB power rankings. I'm going to allow him and Rob to discuss a little bit. I'm going to go back and forth and jump in when I feel like I have to jump in. I know Rob and Kyle are going to put on a good show, so I'm just going to sit back and jump in when I have to. But without further ado, here's Kai.
Alright guys, how everyone is doing today?
What's going on, bud? What do we got going on with these power rankings?
Now
Let's start from your bottom.
Now I went off of now just so everyone knows, rankings. And this is MLB.com I went off of. I did
Kai, hold on. Kai, introduce yourself. Let everyone know,
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, you're jumping right into the power rankings. Introduce yourself, talk about what team you like. Maybe a memory that sticks out in your mind when you think of your favorite player. Just something, allow the energy to go.
Alright. My name is Kyle Stintsman. I'm one of the biggest Red Sox fans you ever can find. Love the game. Been playing it my whole life up until my last year of high school. Now I'm coaching my kid into loving this game as much as I did. So he has a bright future, I hope. Like me. This is my favorite time of year, ladies and gentlemen. Opening day is coming. It's baseball. You can't get any better than that.
So let's jump into your power rankings. Let's start.
Yes.
Let's start at the bottom, Kai. Who do you see being the worst team in baseball this season?
Well, before I got ahead of myself. I ranked everyone off of hitting, which is OPS, pitching, ERA, and just overall the records from last year. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to be on the money with this, but I'm kind of going to get you in the range. And
That's a preseason ranking. We don't really know, who's going to get hot or not. But going off of the information you have, what do we got? Who's the worst team in the MLB?
All right. Now, I got Detroit at 30 with a record at 23-35. Now, the reason why I have them down so low, now, yes, before you say anything, Rob, please. I know Pittsburgh had a worse record, but overall, Detroit was a 25-30. 25 in hitting, 30 in pitching. And right now, with Cabrera not as young as he was, I don't see a lot of help there right now. They do have some prospects that need to get a little bit more experience. And unfortunately, with the COVID season, it was really short, it was really weird, and it was really crazy. So we'll see what happens, but I just don't like it compared to everyone else that's in that division. So I have them not looking so pretty. Do you want your feedback on that one, Rob? Or you want me to just keep going?
No, I mean, I think Pittsburgh is
Detroit.
Detroit's a team that's going to be near the bottom. I mean, those stats, 25th and 30th in the league. That's a mix for a bad season unless they have some guys turn into standout stars. So you can keep it going.
All right, at 29, I have Pittsburgh with the worst record they had last year. But the only thing that was good about them that I liked, now the hitting was dead last. Pitching, 19th. So the pitching wasn't terrible, but they need better offense. And I will go through everyone at least once or twice, I hope. And just break down the teams and the prospects and everything. The whole roster. But right now, I just don't see a lot of power coming out of that team. And I don't think the pitching like it last year didn't save them. And I don't think it's going to save them this year as of right now. So
no arguments here. You can keep trucking.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna finish off a team, and then if you want to jump in really quick, I'll stall for like a second, and then if not, we'll just keep going.
Yep, you good. We're going.
All right, 28. I have the Rangers at 22-38 last year's record. it didn't go well for them. And once again, hitting was 29th, pitching was 23. Not overall good. And there's no other than. Hold on, I'm trying to think of his name. Fuck. What? Gallo. Other than Gallo, I don't see other power really helping them. Once again, like I said, I'm gonna be breaking down everyone's names, like roster, everyone. But other than Gallo, and he's coming off of it in like not a great year. But once again, it was a crazy year. That once again power, and I'm not the greatest right now with pitching for everyone's team, so I'm gonna get more into pitching later on as we go on. But there's a lot of work for them as well. They
also are losing their closer.
Oh, did they? Okay, I missed that then.
Leclerc had 29 saves, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He is expecting to miss 12 to 14 months and be looking at Tommy John.
So he's pretty much out for the season. That's a huge blow, especially when your closer that's supposed to save the day for you, usually.
Yeah.
Any more on...
I don't know if he's a closer or a relief pitcher or what.
Give me a second. I do have my tabs on me, so what was his name again, Rob? I'm going to pull him up really quick.
Leclerc. I saw that article earlier.
Now, did this just happen?
Came by. The article is an hour old from ESPN.
Okay, so this just happens.
Reports, so.
All right.
But it was definitely somebody on their staff.
Bear with me, Rob. I'm just trying to look it up and see if I can pick someone. If I can find it.
His best season was in 2019, honestly.
Yeah, right now I have the whole roster. What was his name again? I'm sorry.
Leclerc.
Oh, Jose Leclerc?
Yep.
Yeah, they're saying he's out 60 days right now, but once again, it's looking like a season ending for him.
Yeah, literally a 2-hour-old article from the Associated Press, Arlington, ESPN.
You want to talk about relievers saving the day? It's one thing the Phillies don't have after last year. But
yep.
I'll wait on when you talk about them.
If you want to jump in, Matt, you can go for it. But yes,
keep jumping forward on the list now. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, thank you. I missed that one. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I need to work on some things like pitching. I always was an offense kind of guy. So where are we at now? We are at 27. I have Seattle with a 27-33 record. Once again, the hitting was at 28, pitching was 24. They're struggling at both ends. Now, they do have potential on the offense. I know with King Felix, once again, is a little older. But they just need a little bit of help. Who knows what could happen? Like you said, it's early enough where anything is possible. Do you want to throw anything on that one, Rob?
Just one injury that could possibly make them even worse is their young player, Lewis, their center fielder, who was the AL Rookie of the Year, has been placed on the injury list. So he's not going to play opening day. It's only a 10-day IL with a knee bruise, so he'll be back. But it's not good to have him out right in the beginning of the year and he can't get into a flow.
Yeah, especially like you need a good start because if you fall behind, it's hard to gain ground.
Exactly.
So
yeah, I'd agree. Seattle towards the bottom as well. Who else we got?
At 26, we have Arizona with a 25-35 record, and hold on, give me a second. And their hitting was at 22nd, and pitching was at 20. So they're like, once again, you got some light, but they still need a lot of work as well. And just with that division, with the Dodgers and with the Padres being at the top of the game, I don't see them making a tremendous dent. Because even the Giants are still give you a little bit of a problem. And the
Yeah,
Rockies
even
didn't do
San
terrible.
Francisco's not terrible, so
Yeah.
I'd agree. I think they have a low ceiling this year.
Mm-hmm. All right, at 25 we have Colorado at 26 and 34 record, and their pitching was at 18 and at 29. So the pitching, their hitting was at 18, their pitching was at 29. So the offense is, like I said, once again in the middle of the group, which can kind of carry them, but their pitching cannot save them for their life, especially being second to last. Once again, it's the same thing with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Especially in that division, you gotta struggle when it comes up to the Dodgers and the Padres.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
This Colorado team now not having Nolan Arenado, how big is that hole that they have to fill? I know you said recently that they do have a third baseman that is coming up.
Yes.
That actually looks like he's got pop in his bat. So do you think Arenado is going to be that big of a loss right away, or do you think this kid could step in and fill the shoes?
Well, with Rocky Stadium being a hitter's ballpark, Amendola is one of the elite players. I know this kid. I forget his name. I will get back to him on that name. This kid does have a lot of pop in his bat, but I think he is gonna help him, but not like Amendola can.
So he's not going to be like an MVP or a Rookie of the Year candidate right away. Like, is he going to be able to step in and
Rookie of the Year? Yes. MVP that can keep him surviving that division. I don't know. Because Amendola couldn't even get him to the postseason.
Well,
so,
yeah, you had Nolan Arenado, and then you had you're good, Chase Blackman. That was it.
Yeah, and that was your offense.
So now losing Arenado, can Blackman kind of move down to the 4 hole where Arenado was hitting before, and pick up that slack that Arenado's not in that lineup, and then you end up adding this kid who does have pop.
Well, like I was saying, I think this kid's your typical rookie season. I think could he be a Rookie of the Year?
Like an Alec Baum season? Like, I'm gonna compare it to Philadelphia, because Alec Baum, you got to see last year, he came up and he started producing right away at third base for Philly. Mm-hmm. The biggest concern with him was his fielding, and it seems like it's kind of the same thing with this prospect from Arizona, that he's not the greatest fielder, but he does have pop in his bat. So does he kind of give you an Alec Baum effect in Colorado?
Power-wise, yes. Just because, like I said, Colorado Stadium is a hitter's ballpark. The ball just likes to fly over there. I think I'm pulling his name up right now.
Well, yeah, you're in a mountain range. Of course, the ball flies over there.
And like I said, this kid has a lot of pop in his bat.
Colorado always has great prospects. They just never hold on to them. That's why their teams always stink.
And yeah, unfortunately, that has been one of their problems in the past. And like I said, it's just...
Fuck the Orlando Magic in the NBA, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yes. Alright, so let's continue with that. Now, I have, unfortunately, my team at 24, the Red Sox, with a 24-36 record.
What was that?
24.
What team was that?
The Red Sox. Yes, I know you're enjoying that. With the record...
The Red Sox.
Now,
the Red Sox.
Now, this is
the
what
Boston Red Sox.
Let me finish. Now, 24-36, the record wasn't, unfortunately, it was un-Boston-like. Now...
Because they stink.
I think they're going to surprise you this year. Now, their hitting was at 9. Their pitching was at 28. Now, the pitching was struggling. Now, what I liked, now that I can talk about this because it's my team, they have a lot of young prospects that will blow your mind and a lot of potential. It's going to come out of left field for you, I can tell you that much. I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff contender, but...
It's going to be going out of left field as all the bombs we hit out of your park on that pitching staff of yours.
And I think that pitching staff is young and hungry. And I think they're going to surprise you. I think they're going to give the Yankees a little bit of a run. I'm not saying that they're going to win the division, because once again, that division, for me, is pretty tight. Very tight, I think. Tighter than you think.
That division you guys are going to end up probably in 4th place in?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm hoping for the best. I'm confident in what they could do, but like I said, I don't see them as a playoff contention this year. But then again, it's baseball. This is why we love the game. You don't know what's going to happen. That's why we play 160 games. And this is the most games in professional sports that you play 160. It's not like 80. It's not like
16.
16. Thank you.
17.
Yes.
17.
17. All right. Yeah.
I do have a question with Boston.
Yeah.
So looking at your pitching staff, I have 2 question marks right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
You guys picked up a terrible pitcher in Nick Pivetta from Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
By far one of the worst guys. I'm happy he's gone. The big question mark to me is, what is Chris Sale? Can he stay healthy? Is he going to be your ace?
Yes. Yes, I think he will stay healthy. Like I said, for this Boston pitching staff, I'm hoping for them to bounce back. I think Sale's could be fine. Like I said, coming off of an injury. Once again, we'll see what happens. I know that, like I said, Boston has a lot of young prospects that have the potential to get the job done. Because I can remember the last 10 games, they started picking it up. And Boston's always been a team that started slow. And with the COVID season, it was, like I said, a weird season. They played, 56?
I think they played 62, 60, somewhere around that range. I think it was like 50 to... I think it was 55 to 72 games, roughly, depending on how many games you were able to play because of COVID.
Yeah. So you're talking about 100 games missed. So that's a big, big impact. Especially with teams that are slow starters. Because some teams just start up hot and then slow, or they stay hot. And some teams just start slow and pick it up. Boston's one of those teams, I feel. Like, Boston's always been one of those teams that starts slow, picks it up at the end. Usually, like, August, September is when they find their groove. But let's continue with that. I have at 23, I have Washington. Now, with their group, I have them... Now, their hitting was at 10th. They're pitching once again at 26. It's kind of like Boston. They need to find a way with pitching. I don't see them right now, especially once again in that division, with the Braves and the Mets now picking up Lindor. I just don't see the Nationals doing something special. You know what I mean? I think they're still trying to find a way, because right now they're still a young group. Because I know that other than Zimmerman, a lot of these guys are young. Like, what's that start? That kid. They have a good alpha. They do have a good alpha field.
Oh, that's Juan Solo.
Yes, thank you.
Soler, my bad.
Soler.
No. Soto.
Yes,
it's Juan Soto. That kid. Actually, me and Rob were just talking about him. I watched a few tapes on him. That kid is disgusting. His work ethic and the way that he preps. I mean, it's like no other. This kid is going to be a stud.
I think he's an MVP candidate.
He can be an MVP candidate. The other thing with him is with Washington is Max Scherzer. What Scherzer are you getting? Now it's obvious to me that you have them as the last team in the NL East, which is surprising. I actually, might have debated with you. Philadelphia may be the worst team, but I'm not going to get too much onto that.
And I know they picked up Kyle Schwarber, so that's more power.
Yeah, Schwarber is in right field.
Oh, they put him at right field?
I believe he's in right field
I
now.
know he's a left fielder.
Yes.
So there you go. You got two people with a lot of power. Zimmerman, like I said, is at the tail end of his career.
Josh Bell has power as well. He's coming over from Pittsburgh.
No. How many homers? I'm pulling him up right now. Now, he had only 6 homers and 15 RBIs with a good ERA.
He only had 47 at-bats last year.
So what? So he only played 18 games, so Bell couldn't get his groove going. Let's see. Hold on, Rob, give me 1 second. My tab is struggling, guys, and I apologize on that. Let's see. Well, we know Bell does have some power. I believe that's a hitting ballpark, right?
They have a good lineup, like you said. Which Scherzer are you getting, and what's the rest of that pitching staff going to do? Can they step up or
fall apart?
Not, and
what are you saying, Rob?
that's going to be a large. part of their season.
Yes, and that like you said is a large part. If the pitching
They're
can get the job
pitching
done.
staff dependent. We all know that the lineup can get it done. Can their pitching staff step up and even a little bit, even if they're just a middle of the pack pitching staff with that lineup, they could be a contender.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying they can't do anything special. Like you said, it does depend on the pitching. At the end of the day, it depends on the pitching.
Yeah, and again, I think they're in a tougher division than people think.
Yes.
In the NL East.
Right now, it's a very tough division. Real quick, I did pull up Bell's numbers. He did hit 37 with 116 RBIs, bad average of 277. That was in 2019. Now, 2020, he hit 8 with 22. Average was 226. So, he was a little rocky for him the last year, but he does have potential to put the ball over the fence and keep the team going on offense.
I'm going to say something kind of weird here. Being a Phillies fan, this Washington team scares me a little bit more than past Washington teams. Josh Bell, Sterling Castro, Juan Soto, what's his name? Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, Ryan Zimmerman. This team, Josh Harrison's playing short. This team's actually a good team.
It's just a poor pitching staff.
And that's what
starters and bullpen all the way through. They're very, very lackluster on the pitching side. And these days, especially your bullpen has to be good.
Oh yeah, like I said, they're hitting.
You're gonna have bad starters. At least have a good bullpen. They don't have either.
Yeah, like I said, pitching they were at 26. Like you said, hitting they were in the top 10. Same thing like kind of Boston's problem. They have the offense, even with Mookie Betts leaving last year. Boston still was a top 10 hitting team. Just the pitching couldn't get it done.
Yep.
So at 22, we have Milwaukee with a 29-31 record, and I have they're hitting at 24. Hitting at 24, pitching at 11. Now the pitching is almost a top 10 team. The hitting much not there.
How do you feel about Christian Yelich?
I
feel he's overrated.
I don't think he's overrated.
You think he's a good ball player?
I think he's a hell of a ball player.
Okay.
And like I said,
he's rated right now by MLB.com as the second best player in baseball.
I wouldn't put him up that high.
The third. He was behind. It was Trout, Mookie Betts, then him, if I remember correctly.
I
don't know if he's all that.
I don't know about that, but he's definitely.
And if he is the third best player, it's a pretty big gap between him and Mookie Betts.
I don't think Yeldon is a number 3. But like I said, he could be an MVP
probably
candidate.
Top 10, but I think there's guys that are better than him.
Oh yeah, I can easily find a couple for you too. I know he did struggle last year.
They also added Jackie Bradley Jr. in the center field, which I think is going to be a huge addition to a younger team. I actually think this baseball season is going to be a lot more back and forth with these teams. You're not going to see many teams, get beat 19, 20, 40 times in a row like the Orioles did in recent years.
Yeah, I think I agree with Matt. Baseball's overall in every division is going to be close. It, like you said, it's not going to be a team that's going to have a meltdown like you said with the Orioles.
You know what though? The rosters may look that way, but I feel like they have in the past, and there's always just a team that it may not be that bad of a roster, but they get on one of those real rough streaks where nobody's hitting and nobody's pitching. It happens every year.
Oh yes.
Always a team that struggles super, super bad, even if the rosters look like they should.
Well, everything, like, one perfect example, everything looks great on pen and paper, but you just don't ever know till we start the season.
Exactly.
Like I know for third base they got Shaw, and I like Shaw as a player. I think he has a lot of power in him. He did struggle last year. He was... Yeah. So, yeah, he did struggle a little bit with average. I can still see Shaw picking it up a little bit. Ryan Braun's
100 years old?
Yeah.
A dinosaur?
I still think he can play, though. If he stays healthy.
He's a deflated dinosaur, though. If he was still allowed to pump them roids, he'd probably be good.
Even without the roids, he still will put up a hell of a number. Not like what he did with the quote-unquote roids.
I mean, he was bumped like multiple times. It's not quote unquote. It is he took steroids and got caught.
But I'm talking about. I still think Ryan Braun can still do it if he's. I'm not saying he's got to put up the numbers what he did, but if he stays healthy,
he has under 20 home runs.
I think he's gonna be 25, maybe. If he stays healthy, who knows?
All right, let's jump off this shitty team.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so, we're getting into 21 here. From 21 to, 10, let's kind of just run through them. And, if there's a question, hit it real quick. And then, when we get into the top 10, we'll actually, kind of break it down a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. Let's speed run until the top 10.
All right, I have 21, the Angels with 26 and 34 record. And their hitting was in the number 12. Pitching was 25. I know Trout's probably one of the elites. You got pulls at the end, but once again, it's their pitching that's always been killing them, and they just need to find a way. So I'll get on to the next one. I have 20, the Mets, with 26 and 34 record. Now, yes, I know they picked up Lindor.
Lindor's a hell of a player. He's a hell of a ball player.
Yes, and I agree with you. Their hitting was number 3 last year. Their pitching was 22nd. Can the pitching staff get it done? Once again, it's like the concept with Boston. Lindor's just maybe he's got to help him a lot more.
Their pitching kind of hurt last year.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Because, I mean, that pitching staff does still have Jake DeGrom, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I know their starters are good. It's can their bullpen
save the day?
Because it seems like their bullpen blows so many games for them last year.
And that's a killer.
But we can keep going.
All right,
we don't have to worry about the inferior New York team.
And like I said, we'll do a recap midway through the season. Number 19, I have the Phillies at 28 and 32.
The who?
The Phillies.
At where?
At 19. With Bryce Harper and Hopkins, it's just, I don't know if it's not clicking. But once again, I just write it off. Hopkins and Harper. Their hitting last year was at number 7. Their pitching was at 27. Now, Matt, I know you're a Phillies fan.
Their bullpen was awful.
Brutal. And awful was putting it nicely. I could think of a lot better words than that.
I would rate them as one.
I'm a Phillies fan. What?
The bottom 3 bullpens in the league, probably the worst.
Yes. And if we all know, your bullpen is a huge part. Yes, your starters is a key. Your offense is a key. It was
unfortunate because their starters in Nola and who's the guy you traded for who pitched really well for them last year?
Let's see. Who did the Phillies trade, Matt?
Complete brain bar.
Rob, Matt didn't.
Not the pitcher you guys brought in behind Nola.
Rob, repeat that question so Matt can hear.
Go ahead, Rob. What were you saying? Rob? All right. We lost Rob for a second. What I think he's getting at, I believe Rob's asking what the Phillies did to the bullpen and to the starting pitching.
No, I was trying to remember who your number 2 was last year behind Nola.
That's Zach Wheeler.
Yeah. It was unfortunate how bad the bullpen was, I was saying, because Wheeler and Nola pitched even more wins than they got. like they had so many wins taken away from them by that bullpen.
Yeah, the bullpen was terrible. It was historically the worst bullpen ever in baseball.
Yeah,
They've added weapons into the bullpen, and they actually, kind of. These two names aren't going to jump off the board if you're not real big baseball fans. But Matt Moore and Chase Anderson are now our 4 or 5 in our starting lineup for pitching. So I feel like our rotation is definitely tightened up compared to having Pivetta and Vince Velasquez back there. So
I mean, yeah, anybody besides Jake Pivetta would have been better pretty much last year.
I'm very happy with Didi and JT coming back. I actually feel, and I guess we could do something like I did on Tuesday, 8:33, March 31st. I have the Phillies winning the NL East.
I can't agree.
So you're agreeing with Matt on the Phillies winning that division, Rob?
No, I said I cannot agree.
Okay. I just want to make sure because I don't think the Phillies are going to win that division. Like I said, with Harper, Hopkins, and that young third baseman. What was it?
Alec Baum. He's going to be
okay.
He's going to be an MVP candidate. I think he's better than Bryce Harper. Sorry for all Phillies fans that were excited about Harper. I'm excited for him, but Alec Baum's a hell of a better baseball player than him.
I do know that kid. If I remember, his prospect power was 65, and that's up there for prospects. The average is they usually have at 50, but he's at 65 for power wise. And I know you're saying he can be better than Bryce Harper. Once again, it's a hitter's ballpark. Last year was his rookie year. There's still a lot of growing for him.
Yeah,
there's a lot of potential for him, but there's
he had
a lot of growing.
He had 80 at bats, 190 at bats,
160 with 4 home runs, 23 RBIs, 11 doubles.
He batted .340.
That's what I was getting at. I'm like, he's putting the ball in play, and that's a good start for a rookie. You want the average and then the power with it to kind of grow with each other. So I just like how he was able to at least put the ball in play. Like I said, he had 4 home runs. Not like, once again, this was a crazy year, but he has a lot of potential for power. And he only struck out 36 times, so to me, that's not terrible. Let's continue. Are you ready for this one, Rob? All right.
Yep.
All right. At 18, I have Kansas City with a 26-34 record. Their pitching. I'm sorry. Their hitting. I'm getting myself mixed up. Their hitting is at 20. Their pitching's at 12. Now, once again, the pitching, it is close to the top 10. I can get the job done. It's what's killing them is the hitting. Lineup wise,
they lost a lot of guys. They
yes.
lost Moose. They lost Lorenzo Cain. I know they're missing somebody else from the run when they were actually, a good team. So.
Oh yeah, they are not the same team until
because they can't afford to keep them all.
That's the shitty part.
Because they don't want to pay the luxury.
And Kansas City's not a big market. It's not the same as they were when they won the World Series and went back to back. I know they won one, lost one. It's a whole different group. And like I said, in that division, it's gonna be tough with Cleveland, with Minnesota, with Chicago.
Yeah, that's a good division.
Yeah, other than them taking out Detroit, overall, I think this year, I don't see them out beating that. Like, these other teams, like I said, Minnesota, Chicago.
Cleveland's way better than them.
Yes. All right, let's continue. At 17, I have Baltimore with a 25-35 record.
They stink.
Get to me. Let's wait. Their hitting's at 14. The pitching's at 60. Now, what I just said, 14-16 overall hitting and pitching, not terrible, but not great. They're like in the middle.
Just an average team.
Yes, and like you said, it's another tough division with the Yankees, with Tampa, with Toronto.
Bland, boring, middle of the road. We can move on. The Baltimore Orioles stink.
Well, like I said, so don't put it past it. Like I said, I don't see them as a playoff team. They just.
They changed their logo, right?
Well,
They changed their logo. on their hat.
I did not know that, actually.
Yeah, so instead of the O, Baltimore changed it to an L because they lose everything.
All right.
I love it. Baltimore stinks. Let's move on to better teams.
All right. At 16, I have Houston. At 29 and 39, I'm 31. I'm sorry. Houston with their hitting at 16, pitching at 13. Once again,
Yeah.
and then
Another team that we can move on from because we all know they were only good because they were cheating. That's why they stink now.
and with
On to the next.
with the loss of Springer, that's a huge blow for them. Could Houston do something this year? I think so, but once again, we have to see what happens. At number 15, I have the Giants with a 29, 39, 31. I apologize, I keep doing that record. Their hitting was at number 6. Now,
Wait, hold on. San Francisco had the 6th best hitting team
Yes.
in baseball last year
OPS,
under
yes.
Gabe Kapler.
yes, I did OPS.
Yep.
It's number 6. Pitching was at 18. So, do they have a lot of power in them? Maybe. Could they put the ball in play, hit the ball, and get the runs in? Yeah, they could do it. That's why they're at number 6 for hitting. Once again, it's a crafty group. There's a well experienced group there. They're, like I said, they're older with some young players mixed in. Could do something, but once again, that division's very dangerous. All right.
I think the division's kind of tough for them, and I think age is going to play a factor with how much juice they can consistently keep through the entirety of the year. So
Yeah, I agree, and I don't see them making the playoffs just because of that. Unless they get that second wild card. At number 14,
yeah, I see them as a middle of the pack team.
yeah. At 14, I have Miami with a 31 and 29 record. Now, yes, they were a playoff team
Sixto Sanchez.
with a hitting at 23 and pitching at 21. Now, yes, they made the playoffs last year, and good for them. I'm actually happy they got over that hump. Hold on, Zob. I'm messing with my tablets. I'm trying to pull. Now, like I said, they were a playoff team with a +2 game. But that second once again, we're going back to the 5 seeds.
Yeah, correct.
card.
So you're only going back to 5, so you are
Not
losing
8.
You are losing 3 spots in the playoffs. Miami would not have made it if it was 5 teams.
Exactly.
I do think that I think Miami was one of the teams that benefited from only having to play 60 games and 8 teams getting into playoffs.
I agree with you. I do see the potential in them. I see the uprise.
They're a young team.
Yes, they're a very young team. They're trying to find a way, and with them making the playoffs for the first time in a long time, I think it's gonna give them that groove, that motivation. Like hey, we can do it.
Yeah, but the big thing that sticks out as soon as you pull up the records from last year, Miami's point differential was -41. In a regular year where you play 162 games, that -41 is going to come back to hurt you.
I agree with you on that. Like I said, last year was a weird, crazy season. Interesting, but crazy. All right, let's continue.
I think they're middle of the pack because their youth is going to cause them to be inconsistent through a 161 game season.
Possibly.
For them, they're really young to stay focused for all 162. I think you're going to see some ups and downs with that team all year this year.
Yeah, like you said, middle of the pack kind of team. But
Yep.
like I said, we haven't even pitched. The opening day pitches haven't started yet. Anything is possible. That's why we love this game. We don't ever know. At number 13, I have Cincy with a 31 and 29 record. Their hitting was at 19. Their pitching was at 7. The pitching's good. They're fine at pitching.
Who's this?
Cincy.
Okay.
And yes, once again, another playoff team because of they put 8 teams in the playoffs. It needs to like American League and National League.
Yep, and that's why they got in. They're a middle of the pack team.
Yes.
They can pitch, they can't hit, and there's too much competition direct to them for them to jump into the 5 seed playoff. So
I agree. What they need to do is find the groove on hitting. Pitching's there. Don't change anything. Whatever, they're fine now. They just need to find a groove with hitting now. All right. Now at 12, I have Cleveland with a 35 and 25 record. Now everyone's like, "Wow, Cleveland back there?" Yes, because now we're starting to get into close to the top team. When Lindor leaving, that's a huge blow for Cleveland. Huge. To the point where I don't think they're able to compete with now Chicago and Minnesota. I'm not saying they can't compete, but Lindor leaving, it's a big hole right there. You know what I mean, Rob? How do you feel about that one?
You know, I was gonna say I think they might be a top 10 team, but it is kind of hard to say that with Lindor out the door. So I agree.
And that was
I don't think this is heavily underplacing them.
And I'm not saying they don't have power. I'm not saying they don't have talent. But that's a huge offensive power producer right there that just left your team. So
yeah,
I don't
they
know
lost one of their biggest guys. I think it's definitely going to make them take a step back.
Yes, I agree. At number 11, I have Tampa Bay with a 40-20 record. Now everyone's like, well, their hitting was at 13, their pitching was at 3. So they're a top 5 team pitching. Hitting, mediocre. I'm not saying they're not a good ball team. I think it's going to be one of those teams where they could surprise me. Once again, you still got Toronto and New York in that division. So I think it's going to be a battle out for those 3 teams, now that we're at this far. As long as their pitching can carry them through, the offense will find a way to get the job done. And what I mean by that is if the pitching is on point, they can win like one games. You want to give me any comments on that one, Rob? Now that we're getting into the top 10 now, we can start kind of getting into it.
A little shocked that Tampa didn't crack the top 10, but I think I'll see reasons why as we move forward.
All right, now this is why. At number 10, I have Toronto with a 23, 22, and 28 record.
This is where I was confused. Why you have Toronto over Tampa?
Their hitting was at 11. Their pitching was at 17. So you can kind of see it like they're hitting equally. Not so much with pitching, but I like Tampa Bay. I like their roster. They're young.
You mean Toronto?
I think this is one of those teams that can get a job done and into the playoffs. Now, like once again,
these are the 2 I disagree on. As of right now, I would have Tampa 10 and the Blue Jays 11 on the outside looking in.
Well, like I said, it's a tit for tat. They're right next to each other, so they can go either or. Like I said, Toronto has a lot of offensive power. With Vlad Guerrero's kid, Biggio's kid has some pop in his bat.
I don't think Toronto's bad. I just think they're not as good as Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was excellent last year.
Yes.
Because of that pitching staff. I don't see Toronto being better than them long term.
I think the addition of George Springer
is
going to put Toronto over Tampa Bay.
Thank you for bringing me that. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. I completely forgot about Springer going over there. So
Maybe, but it depends on how much of a step up those young guys take this year.
Oh yeah, and I agree. That's why
you're banking on those guys all taking a step in the right direction, and that's why I think Tampa's a little bit better than them right now. be persuaded to change that after I see how Toronto looks to open the season.
Well, that's why I have. Well, that's also.
Tampa Bay is a much more known quantity.
Well, it's not like it's a big difference. It's not like I'm over jumping Toronto. I have Toronto and Tampa Bay kind of like back to back with each other. So for me, that can go either or at this point. That's why, like I said, we haven't started the season yet. So that's like those two are gonna definitely keep it interesting. You don't know what's gonna happen.
So who do we got next at 8?
What was that?
Who's next at 8?
Well, at number 9, I have the Cubs with a 34-26 record. Cubbies! Now their hitting was at 21. Their pitching was at the top 10. Now I know with Chris Bryant struggling with injury, they lost Schwarber, and Rizzo's pretty much been their main source right now. I'm not saying Chris Bryant can't get it done. Chris Bryant is also an MVP candidate. I don't know how you feel about that one, Rob.
I feel like Javi Baez is more of an MVP candidate.
Yeah, I don't know that Bryant is ever going to return to that MVP for him.
Yes, I know that was a lot of question. But he can get it done. He's still young.
I think I'm not sure about the Cubs. I think both Toronto and Tampa Bay might be better than the Cubs this year.
It's possible. Like I said, we're gonna do a recap in the middle of the season.
Close, and of course, yeah, we're gonna keep updating this constantly. But
yeah, and I'm going like you also remember the Cubs did pick up Jock, and Jock has a lot of power, so there's a little bit more offense right there.
Yeah, I don't think they're bad. It's just I gotta see how their guys perform long term. Is Bryant gonna be healthy? Stuff like that.
And I agree. And we're at this point now where all these teams we're talking about is playoff contenders.
Yep.
All right. At number 8, I have Oakland with a 36-24 record. They're hitting. Give me a second. I lost my track of my one. Give me a second. I lost. Okay, I found them. So for hitting, they're at 17. Pitching was in the top 5. So the pitching's good. The offense is in the middle, but we all know Oakland Stadium is a pitcher's ballpark. And with their offense, they have a lot of power. Like with Olsen and Chapman will lead the way for them as well. Got any feedback on that one, Rob?
They're definitely contenders.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Like I said, at this point, we'll talk about playoff teams.
Yep.
Number 6 is St. Louis with a 30-28 record. Now, once again, with Goldsmith and Arenado, that's got to help Goldsmith.
I like St. Louis this year.
I do too. Like I said, they have a lot of pop in the back, and that's what they did struggle. They were last year. They were 26 for hitting, 9th in pitching. So
but they added a lot of firepower.
Yes, and that's what I was getting to. So that's got to help them with Arenado being over there, because now they have to pitch to Goldsmith, where they could have pitched around Goldsmith if they want to, but now you got double the threat on them.
Yep.
And I think,
I agree.
And
it'll allow them to protect each other as they go through hot streaks during the year.
Oh yeah. So Amendola's got to help Goldsmith tremendously, like you said, vice versa. And there's some other powers on that team that will pave the way for them. At number 5. The New York Yankees were a 33-27 record. Their hitting was at top 5. Their pitching was at 14. But the question for the Yankees is, can they stay healthy? Now, I know, Rob, this is your team. give me some feedback on that.
They're already getting hurt. Pitching staff's already having issues with injuries.
Yeah. If we're healthy, we're better than 5. The way it's looking, 5 might be too high with the injuries we're already seeing. So I don't necessarily agree or disagree with where the Yankees are in your lineup there. Top 5 is definitely appropriate, though.
And like I said,
even with some injuries, they're going to be one of the best teams regardless.
And I still think with all these injuries, they'll still go win the division. Now, like I said, I have Toronto at 10, Tampa at 11. That can easily happen. One of those two, like I said, those 3 teams in the American League East are my favorites over Boston and the Orioles. So anything can happen with that. As long as the Yankees don't get injured as much, and we've seen in the past that even with those injuries, they still manage to get the job done with Judge and Stanton, and that right there is
Judge, Stanton, LeMahieu.
Yes, there's a lot of power.
Lot of power.
Power.
Not a super old team.
And you guys do have Jay Bruce. You guys picked up Jay Bruce this year. And in that ballpark is tremendous. Because Jay Bruce, I feel, still has it. Yeah, he's an older player. He's not like what he was. But in that stadium, I still think he could put up 25 plus. And I hope he stays healthy for him. I'm hoping he's a comeback player of the year, actually.
Shut your mouth!
No, I like Jay Bruce. Like I said, I know he struggled with injuries last year. The man's only... How old is he? He's only 33. That's not that old. He's old, but not that old. So, like I said, he did miss a lot of games last year with injury.
Yes, he did. In Philadelphia.
Yes, he only played 32. And it was already a short season. So, I'm hoping he could be getting the award of comeback player of the year. I see he can get job done there. But let's continue. At number 4, I have the Chicago White Sox with a 35-25 record. Now, with the loss of their...
Eloy Jimenez.
Thank you. Eloy Jimenez is out for pretty much the whole season.
He's out for the whole season, 4 to 6 months. He tore, I believe, a ligament in his leg. I do have to double check to see the exact injury. But they did lose Jimenez, who, is pretty much, the sidekick to Jose Abreu in that lineup.
Yes, and I feel like Jose Abreu is an MVP candidate for this year. Like you said, that's a good. He lost his sidekick. That's his Robin too. Jose's Batman. That's Robin right there, and that's a huge blow. So with the White Sox hitting at 8, pitching at 6. Overall, this is a hell of a team. And I know... Jimenez, thank you. With him pretty much being out the whole year, they can still get the job done. That team's just, I feel like, an overall great team. We'll just got to see what happens.
Do you think that the loss of Jimenez... I do see that you did make a difference here, and you did put them behind, was it Minnesota?
Yes, and Minnesota's my next team.
So you do have Minnesota 3rd now instead of 4th. Do you see them continuing to drop down in the power rankings throughout the year without having Jimenez? Like, do the Yankees jump them? Do you start seeing these guys through 5 through 10 start jumping the White Sox and kind of hurt their chances of actually being the favorite in the American League in your eyes, now being, a team that might not be able to get in?
I still think they're going to make the playoffs. Do I see them maybe dropping down a little bit? Yes. Not much.
Okay.
And if they do, it may be a couple spots. And like I said, behind them...
My question is, with Jimenez out, teams don't have to necessarily pitch to Batman no more. There's no Robin to protect him.
Yes. So, the Chicago White Sox...
I think that hurt.
It tremendously hurt. By the way, I did skip a team. I completely skipped one at number 7 with the Atlanta Braves with 35 and 25 record. I apologize for that. We got ahead of ourselves. So let's just jump back a quick second. Now, this is why I feel like they're up there. Their hitting was at 15th. I'm sorry, their hitting was at number 1. Their pitching was at 15th. So, pitching needs a little work on. The offense with all these young kids for Atlanta, they're going to do fine. They're going to win that division. And they're, once again, one of my favorites going into the National League.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think they should be a favorite.
Yeah. And like I said, a young team. They made the playoffs last year. Kind of like the Miami Marlins.
Yeah,
they got the playoffs.
I think they're more established in Miami. You got a kid in Freddie Freeman who is a stud.
Yes.
Much better version of Miami.
Yes, and I'm just making, like I said, a little kind of comparison to get the groove with it. With Freeman leading the way, he is definitely the captain of that team. He's got to control them. He's got to keep them all at par. And just help them grow. Because like you said, Atlanta's a very young team. But with Freeman leading the way, that's going to be a tremendous... Because I see Freeman as an MVP candidate as well. The man has a lot of power. He's great at fielding. He puts the ball in play a lot too. Alright, where are we?
Number 3. 3.
Alright, and that's 3. At number 3, I have Minnesota. Matt spoiled that. With a 26 and 24 record. Yeah, I know. Once again, I can talk to you about this. Their hitting was at 15th. Pitching was number 4 now. Once again, they have a lot of power in that team. It's a pitcher's ballpark. The pitching they can't change anything. They can grow better as hitters because, once again, a lot of young kids. They do have a couple of young prospects that have some pop that can pave the way for them as well. What do you think about that one, Rob?
I think when that team is healthy and all out there, they're one of the best rosters in baseball.
Yes. All right. Now, number 2. This is where it's going to get fun, I think.
I think this is a flip-flop. You could do a coin flip here between 2 and 1.
Well,
I do believe this number 2 team is a lot closer to the number 1 team than people are giving them credit for.
Yes.
This number 2 team's infield is the best infield in baseball.
Number 2, the Padres, with a 37 and 23 record, and their hitting was at number 4 and pitching at number 8. Once again, we'll talk about a great ball team, a young ball team. I feel like they're the only one that I really feel like that can compete with the number 1 team, the Dodgers. And they did give them a little bit of running, because if anyone remembers the playoffs, the Padres were the only ones that give the Dodgers a run for their money.
Yeah.
You think about it,
Absolutely.
the World Series, unfortunately, Tampa Bay fell short, but it wasn't even close.
No, it wasn't. That Dodgers team is so stacked.
Oh, absolutely.
Talent.
Yes. And I feel like the Padres are just as good as them, but we got to see. Because I believe the Padres took them to what? Took them to Game 7, I think. Or was it Game 6?
They can all hit.
Yes.
Their starting pitching is
sure.
excellent. Their bullpen is excellent. They don't have a
Well, quick question. Do you remember the the National League Championship with the Padres and Dodgers? How many games did that go to? I can't remember. I think it was 6 or 7. And then for the Dodgers, that was the most per game in a series. So the Dodgers did have a little bit of trouble with them. And let's get to number 1.
And I think if San Diego would have gotten past the Dodgers, they would have won the series last year.
Oh, absolutely.
Two were way stronger than Tampa Bay.
And I completely agree with you on that. It came down to that series. Whoever won that series was going to win the World Series. And this time, it was the Dodgers. But let's get to number 1 and why I have the Dodgers number 1. Like you said, there's so much power. There's so much talent. They haven't changed anyone. They really didn't lose. I know they lost Jock
Mookie Betts is a diva.
And Mookie Betts is a hell of a player once again. You got Bellinger. You can talk about this whole roster, offense and pitching.
You want to hot take, Mookie Betts is the best player in baseball. He's better than Trout.
Well, that's a fair argument on that one. I'll give you that.
Nobody wants to say it. I will. Mookie Betts is better than Trout. He gets teams to the playoffs. He performs in the playoffs. But Trout can't even get a team to the playoffs.
Nothing against Mookie Betts, who was with Boston, was a hell of a team at the time. He went to the Dodgers, which also was already a stud of a team. Mookie just helped him get over that hump finally. But we can't compare Trout with Mookie Betts just because of overall team-wise. Not taking anything away from Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts is definitely an elite play. You can go for 1 and 2 with Trout and him. Like I said, Trout just needs a lot of help over there. I know we got Okina. What's that kid from Japan, Rob?
I can't say his name.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
I am all for names, ladies and gentlemen. I will work better on that. What's his name, Rob?
If you think I can say it, you're out of your mind.
Okay,
I'm not pronouncing that name wrong.
Um,
We know who you're talking about. I think everybody does.
Yeah, it's a hard name to pronounce.
It was a race around the freaking country for all the major market teams trying to sign that dude.
But the reason why he can do both, two-way guy, and I love that. I hope Major League starts doing that, where let the guy pitch a little bit, let him play the field. But unfortunately, with Pujols being at the end of his career, Trout needs a little bit more help, and that's why when you said Trout can't get the team to the playoffs, that's something that he has to figure out eventually. Because that will be...
I meant last year because it was expanded to 8 freaking teams, and they still couldn't get it.
Yes, and I completely agree with you.
You got the quote-unquote best player in baseball, and you can't even be a top 8 seed in your division. That's pathetic.
And I agree, but it comes down to the Angels need to get pieces around Trout to help him out. And I know we're talking about Mookie and Trout, who's the better 1 and 2, and this and that, which we will talk about players eventually, right, Matt?
Yeah, so each Wednesday we're going to have a Stintsman's Diamond.
I thought it was Tuesday.
Wednesday.
We're going to do Wednesday now? Okay.
Each Wednesday is going to be Stintsman's Diamond episode. It's not going to be an hour long every single week. Kyle decided to take between 30 to 26, 45 minutes to talk about a team.
I love baseball. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're good. So, moving forward, each Wednesday we're going to do a Stintsman's Diamond. And we're going to start touching on different stuffs.
Breaking down
stuff, teams, prospects, all that fun stuff.
Well, what do you want to do next? Since we're on air now, we can discuss this. That'll be like my weekend homework. So at least I know prepare. Like, am I starting to break down teams? Am I gonna go to players? What do you want me to do next?
Well, I think the first thing we're gonna do on Wednesday is hit the recap of what happened over the week, and then we can dive into a player.
Because at least next Wednesday will be a full week of baseball, and we kind of see the direction of everyone where they're going. But all right, let's wrap this up. I'll see you guys Wednesday. I guess, Rob, how do you feel about my rankings? Pretty, I guess you could say fair in a way, because I did.
I think they were fair up and down.
Yeah, because I didn't have
much argument, and the arguments were all ticky-tacky, I think. So
yeah, because I did.
Think you did a little good job.
Oh, thank you. Because I did have MLB.com again, and I did match their top every team and mine, and it was a little different, but kind of the same direction.
Yeah.
But I gotta go, guys. I'm gonna put Matt back on. It was fun. It was amazing. I can't wait to do it next time. And I want to thank Matt for letting me have my own show on Philly Frenzy. I think this is gonna be a good year for us. Hi, baby. Alright, now that everyone got to sit in on a
Philly Frenzy Stintsman's Diamond Wednesday. I hope everyone can walk away and actually, learn something from this episode. I feel like Kyle did a good job of breaking down every single player of every single team of every single year of every single month. It's good. It's good content. He definitely hit on a lot of things that are interesting to guys that might be just getting into baseball, not knowing exactly what's going on. They're just going off of, oh, this is my team because this is what my family's always rooted for. With Kyle, you're going to learn about everything. He's going to be able to tell you the Pittsburgh Pirates minor league pitching staff and, all 9 starters from single A and tell you exactly what they hit when they were in 5th grade. It's a bunch of useless shit that nobody should know, but Kyle knows. So we'll definitely.
He's our baseball guy, man.
That's exactly why he's the baseball guy. He's definitely excited to be a part of the show and come on every Wednesday and talk baseball and allow you guys to pick his brain. He's going to eventually, once he gets used to this, I will allow people to ask questions and kind of get him to open up and go off a script. As I was trying to do a little bit tonight, I was throwing some questions at him that he didn't even know were coming. But I mean, my biggest takeaway is he has Chicago still sitting at 4 after the Eloy Jimenez injury. I do think losing Jimenez is going to hurt the White Sox a lot more than people are expecting. I think this actually takes the White Sox out of the contention of running in the Central at all. I'm not sure where you're.
I hurt them that bad.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I wasn't going to continue the episode. I was gonna let everyone go because we did sit here for an hour. But real quick, tomorrow is opening day. Yankees are at 1:05, right, Rob?
Yep, playing Toronto. They
have the 1:05 start time. The Phillies play at 4:05 against Atlanta in Philadelphia. So both of our teams do play tomorrow. We do have a little bit of a big podcast tomorrow. We got 2 shows. At 7 o'clock, we got Chris 2K. For anybody who does not know who Chris 2K is, Chris 2K is the owner of Liquid Pro-Am. He also works with ADBA. He does analytics for the 2K Pro-Am community. What this kid does with robots on the computer is ridiculous. I'm excited to have him on and kind of pick his brain, see where these advanced analytics are coming from, how he's kind of possibly changing the way we look at box scores moving forward, and film study for scouts in the 2K League. And then we also have my buddy Oreo coming on tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Big dog Oreo, he's going to come on before he has to leave to go to Cleveland. If you guys don't know, Oreo was drafted to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA 2K League in the first round. So I am going to be able to get him on before he actually ships up and heads out to Cleveland. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with Oreo. We're not going to pull any pranks on him or anything. We're not the vets. He's got to watch when he gets to Cleveland, though. But I mean, besides that, Rob, do you have anything you want to add before we shut it down for the night?
No, man. I think we're all good. I'm just excited to keep the baseball podcast going and excited for tomorrow with the doubleheader.
All right. So if you got nothing better to do, turn on baseball tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern. Yankees are playing. Phillies play at 4 o'clock. And then tune in to us at 7 o'clock with Chris 2K and then 8 o'clock with Oreo. But until tomorrow, man, really, appreciate everyone coming out and, dropping likes, follows, retweets, everything you guys do for us. We definitely enjoy this. But Philly Frenzy out.